Welcome, everyone, to a transit reading. I'm actually going to move this a little bit, cover her personal information, kind of, sort of. But if I could. So, this is going to be a transit reading for a client. What transits are, uh, is that the right way I want to say that now? So, transits explain how the current sky setup, which you can see represented by the green planets on the outer rings in this type of chart, um, how these, let me make this a little bit smaller for you guys, how these planets on the outside here affect what is designed to happen here. The thing about transits are transits are designed to pull you closer to your goal of the North Node. For this person, the North Node is in the 10th house in the sign of Cancer. That means this person came to go into the world to create a name for themselves as someone who helps take care of other people. But also keep in mind that you have to look at the full house in order to understand the energy of what the job may be. So with Leo over here, this is somebody who is taking charge in a job that allows them to help people. That's what they came to do, to go away from having a business at home or having sort of like a family thing here and going up there for their North Node. So they might have started in this area because this is where the South Node would be represented, the area that they have to go away from out into here. Okay, so that is the main goal for these transits moving around, along with the identity of the sun, which is right here. This person's sun is in Scorpio in first, so she is pretty much developing her soul through her identity, discovering rebirth energy through her appearance. Chances are, with this sort of setup, being in a particular marriage or partnership would force her into independence, and then she'd be sort of mysterious afterwards, and that would be navigated by the planets. The planets would force this sort of energy to go into here. This person was designed to be sort of a workaholic, a mysterious workaholic. So we keep the energy of what the person is, what the main idea of this whole area is. As you can see by the fact that there's so much in the first house, this person definitely came to develop self over everything, self through partnerships. And what that means is this person will learn what they do or do not want, or what they will or will not accept based upon who they really are, reflected through their partnerships. This will change the way they see themselves, the way they make money, everything. So let's get to how these transits work. When I do these, I typically like to look for, where's the sun? Where's the focus right now? Because that's what the sun is. The sun is in Leo right now. So with that being in her 11th house right now, that means that she's focusing on caring for, I'm still thinking about over here. She's leading a certain group. Because the 11th house is all about community, all about groups, all about a certain connection to a group of people. And that Leo energy is about leading, entertaining, taking charge of. So right now, that means her focus is in probably work, because you got to remember this person is definitely somebody who's really focused on work. You also see that right next to that, which makes them conjunct or working together at this time. You can also see that with Sun and Mercury, they're working together. You see that right down here, guys? Um, her thought process, her logic, her communication right now is on this. Work is it. She's probably very much killing it at work right now, especially with her passion just natally there all as well. Because you got to remember the things that hit right here on the transits aspect your natal stuff right here. So that means the sun right now is working with her Mars. So you can see that down here on the aspect, sun, and you look for Mars right here. You see how they're working together. That's sextile. I say conjunct, that's not it. Sextile, that means they're working together. The energy is working. So her identity right now, or the way the sun is lit up right now, is giving her passion towards her job, and that is where her focus is. So work is a great area. Now, the moon, which is all about your emotions, the important thing to remember about the moon, guys, is the moon goes through the whole chart in 30 days. So technically, like every 3 or so days, it's in every sign. So you go through every emotional opportunity, every emotion and thought process about every single house in this chart throughout the month. That's why sometimes we feel crazy. But right now, this person's moon is in the 10th house of work, leading. So this is definitely, this month is meant to be focused on work. And what's going to happen is this is going to move down here, then it'll be leading people where her feelings are in charge of that. And then after a few days, it'll be in Virgo. So that'll be healing, organizing this group of people. This is very managerial energy, somebody who is definitely running stuff. But then it'll go to Virgo in the 12th house, which means this will be some overthinking, some isolation, some overanalyzing through her feelings. And then we hit the 12th house, where she'll be thinking about her feelings about partnership, the failures of any partnership she's been in, the way they have changed her. Before that comes back around to first and then starts aspecting Saturn. So her feelings will go through the fact that she's restricted in partnership, because that's what Saturn has done to her. It's made marriage sort of elusive, or made it harder to reach until after like 30 and stuff. Her thought process will be affected by her feelings. There will be expansion on her feelings. Also, the point that she might have like a breaking point, because when your feelings hit Jupiter, your logic, things that you were ignoring can no longer be ignored. That'll be followed by some transformation of her feelings about her partnership coming up. Like every time that Libra is being hit in this person's chart, like during the end of September, that's going to be a big one where so many things are hit because of that energy. Okay, so now that you understand how the moon is going to work and how that's going to come around here, let's move over here. Right now, I don't know why that little line there, that's not usually the case. Maybe that's representing where the Venus is supposed to be, because Venus is in Cancer right now. I find that interesting that that's there. I would have thought it was further over there, but hey, who knows? Venus is in Cancer right now. That's in her 9th house. So maybe she's thinking about expanding, because money is ruled by Venus. Wherever this Venus is, always affects this 2nd house down here, because Venus rules how your money is going. So with hers being in the 9th house, maybe there's something that she has to expand, something new she has to learn. Because you got to keep in mind the flavor, so to speak, of what's going on here. If this is about money, it's in the house of Sagittarius, which is all about expansion, travel, spirituality, and that sort of stuff. You automatically know, hey, this is not going to particularly be about spirituality if it has to do with money. Although, I mean, it could affect her values if she's around certain people at work. More than likely, this is about her wanting to like recertify or get further education so she can move up in the ranks. Also possibly thinking about moving to get a new job with Venus here, just considering new ways to care for self and care for others, and to increase income, with that being Venus. Just trying to figure out where her new comfort zone would be. Now with this North Node, which is always the hand of fate, destiny, the main thing that is pulling right now, when the North Node is going through a house, that is telling you that the destiny of this area is coming to fruition. The things that are star-crossed and necessary to happen in this area to set the rest of the chart off are going down right now. So with that in the 9th house, she is definitely going through a phase where she has to learn something. Maybe a teacher-student relationship typically happens with this Gemini energy, but she is having to learn how to speak, communicate, or think in her local neighborhood, in her day-to-day life. Because remember, Gemini controls the 3rd house of her, that's in Sagittarius. So this is all about expansion. Maybe she really wants to leave her job, and learning a new skill or learning how to expand is the only way to get out of that. But either way, the North Node started in Gemini in May, and it stays in each sign for 18 months. So we're going to say around now, she's got about like 14 months of learning before that goes into the 8th house. So she'll be learning about some topics like death, sex, transformation through sex. This is tantric energy, real estate, stock market, debt. All those sort of things will be a focus during this time period that's coming up for her. With Uranus and Taurus here, that means there's radical change in her sex life. That actually aspects her Chiron here. So any wound she has about the fact that maybe her sex life or her connections to that are not exactly how she wants it to be will be pulled up, but that's meant to dramatically change because Uranus will stay here until 2026. So that'll be ripping all that up. So she'll have a new understanding of, she might move possibly with this energy going on here within that time frame between, that's 6 years. That's a lot of time. She's probably going to move and definitely improve her life, because remember, Taurus energy is all about earning, because remember, Taurus relates still back to the 2nd house of money. So every change that's going on here in regards to other people's money, this is spouse's money, because she might get married as well. You see that Mars is here in 7th, because it's important to remember that this person has to get married at some point in order to set off everything over here that is going to create this persona, this change. Although it might be who she is innately, this is supposed to trigger like Phoenix energy 2.0 through her marriage. Because in her marriage, because there's Mars here transiting right now, and chances are could be transiting there when she actually does get married, if she has not already been. Because you got to keep in mind, sometimes it helps to ask ahead of time, and sometimes it helps to generalize the reading and say if you are or if you aren't, based on that. But with this radical change going on here in real estate and other people's money, inheritances and all that stuff, there is a possibility that she'll get married, and it'll change her life because it'll lead to her gathering money for herself based upon what happens in the marriage, or if there is a divorce or anything like that. But either way, definitely a change in income and the way income is earned with this going on here in relation to all these 8th house Scorpio topics, which are directly connected to herself, because Scorpio is right here in her first house, but directly connected to how she earns money as well. That's how we know that. With the Mars in Aries, her passion is behind whatever partnership she is right now, whatever relationship has a contract going on. It is in retrograde. So any feeling she has about that, like technically, emotionally, it should be going down for this person, because retrograde means that all the energies of this are being turned inside. So any feelings or resentment or concerns she has about being independent in her relationships, about having to be the stronger person in her relationships, are definitely being rooted up right now. With the Chiron also in Aries in her 6th house, this means on a day-to-day basis, something about it is being reminded to her. I said that all backwards. But any wound she has about this independence or having to be so strong, because this is definitely a character that has to be strong on a regular basis, are affecting her. She might be easily triggered during this time period. This is just a time bomb phase for her, as she's moving her life into order and becoming the boss bitch that she was meant to be, clearly. With her Neptune here in Pisces on a day-to-day basis, this means that she probably needs to listen to her intuition more, her dreams, her fruition. She is going through a karmic period where karma is playing out in her day-to-day life, because Neptune sort of brings back all the 12th house things. So any feelings that she has about over analyzing herself, perfectionism, back to that energy about having a partner or not sure if she wants a partner or if she's more irritated by him, are all coming up. Any relationship that she's in right now is likely to be karmic, because this will be here till 2024. So that's all coming back to roost. All her spiritual gifts, anything from karma, because that's that Pisces energy, things that connect you to everybody else. So it's probably very important for her to meditate on a regular basis. That'll bring you to the last part of the chart. I try to save the last part, the hardest part for last. This is about finances, because Capricorn totally rules reputation. Capricorn rules the 10th house cusp. It rules your career, your reputation in front of the world, and all that sort of stuff. So when you have Saturn here, that means there's a restriction being placed on her home in order for her job to go correct. Chances are you have to think about the quarantine. So maybe she's an essential worker. Maybe she has to leave out the house. Maybe she's stuck in the house, but she's learning how to do her job better from home. Those are things to consider. Now with Pluto there, that means something is being burnt down for it to be transformed at home, because you got to keep in mind what house it is when you're reading transits. This means that when these two are working together, all her financial stuff is being uprooted, because you look at where the Saturn is natally in the first house. So that means that she's going to be feeling this here, if there are any financial restrictions or anything going forward. But it's in order to help. Remember, always, sometimes you might feel the pain of it, but if you move towards your goal of doing the right thing, you won't necessarily feel the restriction. Your flow will actually be better, which is why Jupiter is here. So after everything is restricted and burned down at home, so that she has to have a new system of stuff, there is some expansion available with Jupiter and Capricorn, that is going to light up the 10th house and her first house, which probably gives her, like, because she's has Libra on the first house cusp. This probably means that she's going to buy some new fashionable stuff, because Libra is about beauty. She's going to get a makeover. She's going to look awesome, and she's going to be like, fuck her dude. Possibly with this sort of energy going on here, and this tone of change that is being put on this chart. So this is how you read a transit chart. This is my first example for you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. And thanks, Brianne, for allowing your chart to be an example. You go out there and kill it with this job, ma'am.